Yo, 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 what is going on? COD, more so RoK Familia, and Kingdom Builder Familia. Of course, it is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today we are going to be reacting to a video that I was sent titled The Downfall of the RoK Content Creators, Rise of Kingdom. This is by King Schmuck. We'll make sure we have some source links in the description. This should be a goodie. As always, if you enjoy the reactions, make sure you because it helps us out a lot.
How did one of the most viewed content creator of Rise of Kingdoms with over 108k subscribers go from record-breaking YouTube views to then averaging less than 1,000 views per video? Why did one of the most viewed sponsored creators of Rise of Kingdoms ghost his channel and his viewers, then disappearing without a trace? If you notice closely, you can see the same pattern happening to some other prominent content creators of the past. For this video, we're going to be providing an analysis of what happened to some of these creators that made them part of Rise of Kingdoms past. To not prolong this video, we're going to be only focusing on Legend Ronnie and Shinchi42.
From my understanding, I think Shinchi still plays though, so I don't know if he's necessarily a part
May
of that.
2018, Rise of Civilization.
I was going to say, if that isn't the case, it might be more appropriate to say like, oh, he's not doing content for RoK anymore, but still plays the game. Unless that's changed as of late.
Is launched in the App Store. If you had started Rise of Kingdoms in 2018 and 2019, you would have noticed a rather small selection of prominent content creators back then. You had the likes of Chisgul, Gecko Gaming, Echo Gaming, Legend Ronnie, Shinchi42, and a few other smaller channels. When the game was once called Rise of Civilizations, there was a call to the community for content creators.
And my man dug for this on Facebook or Discord.
Ronnie and the rest were quick to take up on the offer, started making their first set of videos. The lack of tutorials, guides, walkthroughs made their poor quality videos shine from the rest, and exaggerated most of their views. I mean, look at Shinchi's first ever tutorial.
Now I have Sakura, which is my farmer.
We get it, it's cringe.
Is a gatherer, and most of her skills are involving gathering crop or food gathering or wood gathering. This is her skills. She's good at that.
Now bear in mind there was no actual music.
Okay, so I just want to make a quick point here, right? I think the overall point and premise of the video did not necessarily need to give this, I don't want to say insinuation, but this view that like Schmuck's like taking a dig at them. I'm sure he's not. It's just that the way it's being presented when he mentions like poor quality video, gives an example of poor commentary or production over the video in certain areas where it's, do you really need that to kind of go over the history of like how things started, what the decline, how they've ended, where they've gone to, if you're able to find out. I don't think so. But I digress. Let's continue.
Music in the background, that was for me. I edited that music in, so you could tell the quality of the videos were not up to standards, and I don't think anyone will be uploading these types of videos anymore. But for back then, this would be more than enough to help out lots of the new guys that were starting Rise of Kingdoms, because let's be honest, when we all started this game, it was quite difficult and we did need guides no matter how bad the videos were. However, there was one special...
It's like the fourth time though, right, that he mentions it within a minute of just like poor guide, bad video. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe you guys feel differently. Again, it just feels like unnecessary jabs that don't really kind of add necessary value context to, again, the premise of what the video is focusing on. Just my thoughts.
Content creator that always knew what he was doing, and that was Echo Gaming. For Echo Gaming, this was his bread and butter. I wouldn't really call him a Rise of Kingdoms content creator. What you see here is a professional mobile games YouTuber who goes around and reviews games for a paid service. He's merely an advertiser, and to be quite frank, he wasn't really interested in the game. It's quite normal for a person in his shoes to simply play the game just to advertise it to a larger audience. He got paid for it, and again, this is a very normal thing to do on YouTube, especially if you have a very large audience. Now we're going to get back to this segment later.
So I just want to point out something real quick. I actually pretty much agree with what Schmuck said here, right? Where I think an appropriate way to put Echo is he's a generalist, meaning that, or like an all-arounder, right? Understands entry level, understands basics, understands fundamentals, but isn't necessarily going to do a deep dive, right? He might not look at data the way that I look at data, right? He may not do something that Flesh does, right, with doing matchup comparisons, right, for unit troops and looking at damage factors and doing deep dives on reports. Again, just to name some people for some that I'm familiar with, right, to that extent. And so I think it is an appropriate assessment when you look at kind of what his role is, where it's like, hey, I understand enough to put out content in a number of fields or a number of topical areas about the game. And it also allows for him to kind of save time on producing content because he doesn't have to necessarily do deep dives to have a wealth of an understanding or a kind of be like an SME, a subject matter expert, if you will, in particular areas. So there are some pros and cons to that as it pertains to content production.
To run because it's extremely important and it plays an impact on other content creators, where you can see the pattern shift to being a Rise of Kingdoms content creator to being something like Echo Gaming. Let's head back to Legend Ronnie for a bit and talk about his downfall first before we go into Shinchi42. From a London bricklayer to a YouTube gaming star, his videos gave him a quick shot at being viral in the game, and he loved every bit of it. He even got sponsored from Lilith themselves. However, this was until his fraud scandal that shook both the Rise of Kingdoms community and Lilith. He was exposed for many reasons that I cannot disclose currently because I was partly to blame for making 2 viral videos on his scandal, which I have now put on private from the request of Lilith. This may have hurt Ronnie. It hurt his ego, his self-esteem.
Yo, just saying, my man had like 40 and 20K views. That's for his size, that's really good.
It affected his gameplay, and it was very difficult for him to recover from such mess. I would confidently say this was a turning point to his YouTube career. His views started dropping drastically and lots of people unsubscribed. However, despite getting banned on his main Rise of Kingdoms account, Ronnie stayed strong. He kept making videos. The videos would not be highly viewed as his previous videos before the scandal, but he kept making them. His views were decent, and his subscriber count started recovering. It stayed this way until many forgot about his mischievous past. I would even say he beat the odds and he made everyone forget about his dark past. Sort of like what Logan Paul.
Yeah, I think it's interesting Schmuck brings this up because it's almost as though that's saying like time heals all wounds. Instead, in this case, it's time heals all negativity. I guess is another way. You guys get where I'm going with it. But it is one of those things where it's like you're powering through something. And especially if something is really bad, there is the possibility that it becomes unrecoverable. And so, to Schmuck's point, I would agree. I think it's actually it's a feat in and of itself is probably the most neutral way to put it.
Did. So where is he now? No uploads for a year, his Discord being used to spam advertisement for jumpers and other useless projects. So the first thing I did is check the YouTube comments to see if there's any explanation for his absence.
He has been deported from the UK is what I heard.
Wow.
Some people say he died. I don't know what to believe, to be honest.
Yeah, I just want to point out real quick, that one there from Stuart Thomas 74/7, just the voiceover he did, I just felt like I felt like that voice was someone who reads an Audible book to you. And it's just, that was funny.
Yep, twice now Lilith have banned him.
He can't show any KVK content, which is what his channel is, because they will ban every account. Pretty sad, really.
You heard it, folks. Legend Ronnie has been banned for advertising Rise of Kingdom account selling websites. He's been banned for advertising shit websites on his shit Discord.
I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like there's a little bit of pent-up emotion coming out from the tone. So something funny, right, on the RoK Best Deals thing, I saw that there was this on Absidy's, I think it was Absidy's Discord as well. And now I don't think he puts out any content anymore. So I would imagine that if you promote something like this publicly, that you cannot be in any kind of the content creator or partner program. But I also wonder if it affects you playing the game as far as having your accounts banned, right? Which is and I don't know if that's almost kind of how Schmuck made it sound, but I guess I can understand this if you're a creator and you're promoting this, which they don't necessarily want you to do, or I guess really advise or recommend it, and can, of course, terminate your partnership if that's the way that their rules and regulations and agreements are set up.
Discord is full of this shit announcement, and the brother has sold his account. He sold his soul, and now he's planning to sell his Discord channel. He wants to bloody sell everything.
He wants to sell his Discord? What? Hang on. Where was that? If interested in buying a 19K member Discord. Wow, this was 6 months ago? I obviously would have to translate that, but interesting.
Channel. He wants to bloody sell everything. And don't get me started on this guy. Bro thinks he's the shit or what? 1v1 me right now. If you're brave, 1v1 right now. Log in right now, 1v1. I dare you. I'm logged in. I'm right here in Kingdom 2479. Come right here. We'll hash it out. Come right here. Yeah, sorry guys. That wasn't the direction of this video. I think the background music hyped me up a bit too much. What do you guys think? When you're editing a video, do you ever feel like, you know, the background music hypes you up a bit too much? That's kind of what happened to me right there. To get back on the topic, and this is my personal take.
I mean, let's be honest. When your interness comes out, there is either some truth to that or all the truth to that.
Because Shishi still does upload. It's just his channel views plummeted. To give you a better perspective, do you remember this Echo Gaming guy that I was talking about earlier? Yeah, I believe Shinji tried to steer towards the same direction. From what I can see in his videos, he has some advertisement videos and then he switches to regular gameplay. It's honest work, and I believe he does get some decent income whenever he advertises other games, but in the long run, it can damage the brand and it can damage what he's been building up for those years, if not done properly. It's nice and all to be a diverse gamer, but for something like this to stick, you need a really good loyal following, and I just don't think Shinji had those loyal followers, and they weren't loyal enough to stick around, especially.
So I think this is the thing that you have to understand about, and let's see if we get a
when he uploaded.
Here we go. So this is the thing, right, is that if you're going to expand content, and this is just my view on it, if you're going to expand content, you have to plant seeds early and explain to your audience that you are not just a kind of one game creator. And one of the easiest ways to do this is to explain those things. You know, you basically subtly will drop, I don't want to say hints, but you'll drop those messages in videos that you make where, you know, you might say something to the effect of, you know, I'm really interested in trying out some new games within the genre, or games that might be able to compete with this game, right? Because those are things that can generate interest. And so oftentimes it's easy to start off by covering other games within the subgenre, which in this case is Kingdom Builders, is just what I call them. Other people refer to them as SLS, 4X, city building games, build and battle, etc. And so playing other games within the genre is a nice segue because, again, people want to obviously try to play the best games and games that are the most enjoyable for them. And it's a lot easier for a consumer to do that if it's something that they're already familiar with. And because most Kingdom Builder games have a lot of common denominators and a lot of consistencies from one game to another, at least as it pertains to features, it could be easy to make that kind of transition. And I think that's why you see, like when Shinji was doing Call of Dragons, right? Even some of the views on COD weren't awful. Again, you could argue that they, of course, weren't as good as his RoK content, but that's because you also have to establish consistency at the same time. And then it also depends on, are you promoting that content on your main channel? Are you starting up a second channel and then you're promoting it that way? That was something that Echo did early on when he came over, I think, to Infinity Kingdom, and then also when he was putting out some content briefly in the beginning for Call of Dragons. There could be different factors there as it pertains to algorithm, etc. But yeah, I just wanted to give some context there because, you know, like for example, like I did a first look video for Age of Empires Mobile. I think it has like 5K views or something like that, right? And I put out a couple more videos after that, but this was in addition to me putting out consistently daily content for COD, and a few of those videos did well, at least for me, and my size. So I think, again, it all depends on what your strategy and your tactics are, but I just wanted to give some explanation there from at least my perspective.
Did frequently, and it was very difficult for them to keep up and catch up with all the content he's been releasing. All in all, I think bringing so much diverse content from different games.
I will say this. I agree with Schmuck, and I don't think he said this yet, but the games I don't understand that Shinji's doing is like, I never understood the Uno thing. Like, I get it, but I just didn't understand it. Why? Because like, if you're going to make that drastic of a transition from a kingdom builder genre to a card game genre, that game has to already be trending or having a high number of engagement and traffic from people that are watching and searching that content. And then, your production and quality to enter into that space has to be just as good, if not better, and or your commentary and your production value has to be just as good, if not better, than anyone else who's producing in that area. Regardless if, now, I don't know if I want to say regardless if you like it or you're passionate about it, because I think that does have a factor as well. But there's just other things you have to consider. Whereas, at least from what I saw, right, that he was getting better views on Call of Dragons than he was on Uno, and then he was on Modern Warfare as well. But maybe it just might have been a thing where his contract ended, if he did have a contract with Lego or Farlight, right, for putting out a number of videos for COD, and then once that ended, he just didn't enjoy playing it anymore, or he just didn't care to produce anything anymore. Again, right, those are unknowns that we're not familiar with. But I just wanted to point that out, that I think it's pretty clear that you can tell, right, when he's putting out, and yeah, this video here is like 21K views for Modern Warfare 3 that you can see that he has here, but we're talking about like consistency over a period of time. So just again, my POV.
Games killed his channel, and his main viewer base, which are Rise of Kingdom fans, probably just weren't interested in the other games he was playing. He did probably have the delusion that his fans were following him for his personality, which is hardly the case with these mobile games. And Shinji, if you're watching this, please don't take it personal. It's just YouTube, and maybe it's a call for you to get back onto the Rise of Kingdoms grind. So yeah, that concludes this video. Ronnie got banned for advertising shit account selling websites, and Shinji's channel died from too much diverse content. And I wanted to add other content creators to the list, but I ran out of time, and I thought maybe if this video does really well, I could do a part 2. Hope you guys at least enjoyed the video, and if you reached the end, you're a legend. Click the like and comment down what you think below. You can be as honest as you want. Honestly, I couldn't care less. Even if it's a negative comment, I'm happy to take criticism as a feedback. And that's all, folks. I'll see you on the next video.
All right. So good stuff. This is my first time watching Schmuck. Again, I don't keep up with RoK content creators, but this was something that I was interested in watching because it was a little bit more kind of generalized content about RoK. And so for something like this was a joy to watch. I would be interested if he did a deep dive on some of the other creators and kind of more honed in and focused on like, hey, this is how they started. These are some videos that pop them off. This is like the progression of their content. And then this is like where things started kind of taking a dive. There's this guy that does Hearthstone reviews on people like that. His name's like, it starts with an R, but he's a content creator. I've watched a few of these where he's basically done like these deep dives because obviously Hearthstone has been out for a long time, and he'll basically do like a where are they now, or kind of a historical review of them. And I found those videos were pretty interesting to watch on like, hey, this is how they started. Here's where their rise was. Here's how they performed in the game. And then here's where they started dropping off to ultimately stopping, and then kind of what they're doing now. Like that to me, which is kind of, if you think about it, it's just a take on the whole, like, where are they now? Like those celebrity videos or actresses videos, right? Or anyone who's like popular, where they'll do like, oh, where are they now? Like maybe they were a child star, and then it's like, oh, okay, what are they doing now? Right, kind of a thing. So I just feel like that this is just kind of a variation of that, even though it's obviously not a direct one-to-one. But yeah, this is good stuff. Would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this, and hopefully you enjoyed my take and a couple points. And yeah, that's going to do it for me, as usual. As always, until next time, I'll catch y'all later.